Welcome. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription-Free Transformation, real people, real conversations, and real success. And one of the things that we can always ask ourselves, what is the status of our life today? Are we really where we want to be? And what's really holding us back? And oftentimes I find that people settle for less. They just deal with what they've been dealt with, in essence, and don't make any changes until there's enough pain that they suddenly then make that change. And so my question for people out there who are kind of struggling in their life, perhaps don't experience all the pain that requires a change, why wait till it gets so bad so that you're forced to do something? Why not find someone who has the answers for you, who's got the solutions? And many times you'll find these people with great solutions because they've had that experience before. And so wisdom comes from learning from others who've undergone these challenges, overcome them, and now can teach you the lessons that they've learned in such a fashion that you don't have to go through that pain. Pain actually does help sometimes. I mean, life can, pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. And so I'm delighted to be introducing to you today a wonderful woman who has tons of experience in her personal life, her personal struggles, having a family, having a job, and then finding yourself in a spot like, oh my gosh, what now? Life happened to her in a moment, but then she decided, wait, hang on a second, I'm not going to let life happen to me. I'm going to take control of this. And so I'm excited to be introducing Stacey Rose and to the show, and how her special niche for women and can be an example for those women who want to make changes in their lives. So Stacey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much, Dr. Rademaker, for having me today. It's a great pleasure and honor. Thank you so much.
So why don't you share with us briefly your story? What was it that got you here today? Because I know you had different plans when you were young and never imagined where you are today, but how beautiful it is that you get to help so many women out there.
Yes, definitely. So life, all I could say, has definitely been a journey. Definitely, we all experience our journey, walk our own path and journey every day, and, might not be where the path that we want to be on. And, but it could definitely be surprising. 20 years ago, never thought I'd be here today doing what I'm doing. I am a mom of 3 beautiful children, 2 adults and a teenager. And just living my best life now in my 40s, and never thought that it would take this many years to finally get on track with life and discover what I discovered in life. And for me, my self-discovery the past couple years that really got me going in this journey was love. Discovery of love of self. For years as a mom, and any moms watching this, could agree with me that you devote your whole life to your children and to your spouse or partner, and you do everything for everyone, and you're the last one. And then at the end of the day, you're just depleted, because as a mom, we think we have to do everything, and, we don't ask for help. And at the end of the day, we're just tired and frazzled. And so, doing that for many years, my kids got older, I found myself asking myself, like, okay, what's next? As a stay-at-home mom, I didn't have a career, was married and pregnant young. So I started my life very young at 20 years old. And so I've experienced a lot. I'm in my 40s now, and I think I've experienced a lot more than I think most people, because I started very young, raising a family. And so as a mom, I want to help moms like me who give up their, I don't want to say maybe giving up their career in life, but choosing to stay home and raise their children and putting their career on the back burner. And, many years from now, when the kids get older, if they're asking themselves, what's next? I want to be there to help them. I wish somebody was there for me when I needed that help and guidance, and maybe directed me when my children were younger, and saying, hey, start thinking, start planning for the future. And I guess I thought my kids would be with me for a long time, and life goes by so fast. Your kids grow up, and next thing you know it, they're like out the door, right? They're gone. So for me, really that question, like, hey, what's next? I know there's more to life. I raised my kids and always will be a mom. you
Well,
know.
let me ask you this question, because when you really think about it, the education of our children is paramount for everything. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's our future. It's everyone's future. And if we properly educate our children, so perhaps the most important job in the world is teaching our kids. And too often, I think the focus is elsewhere. It's like, how much money can you make? What can you produce? All these different things. When the truth is, our community, our connection with, our close ones is so important. So how, as a woman then, as a mom, would you, if you were to do things over again, right? So here's a tough question for you. If you were to do things over again, what is it that you would do differently? Because I think that question that you have, what next, is so critical. And too often people wait too long to ask that question. What if you started asking that question when your firstborn came?
Yeah, life definitely probably been a lot different if I had asked that question and actually started asking myself some deep questions. 'Cause I definitely believe now, and I've learned that the quality of life depends on the quality of questions that we ask ourselves. And we don't ask ourselves some really deep quality questions. We kind of just raise life and go with the flow of life. And I think for me, that was kind of it, was pregnant 20 years old. Next thing was like, hey, let's get married. Married, had two more kids, married for 15 years. And then, things happen in life. You grow and go separate ways and stuff. And then you find yourself, whether you want to call it mid-crisis, when you find yourself kind of like lost and
Right.
confused and ask yourself what's next. But definitely, I mean, I wouldn't want to change because I believe everything that happened in my life happened for a reason and I'm in a
Right.
good place for it. But definitely, if I had the knowledge and the wisdom, I mean, at 20 years old, we don't have that, right? That's why we have to learn and live life. Maybe we've had advice from parents and people, but we're like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to do it my way. And then we learn the hard way. So like you were saying, if we can, for me, teach our children, not, I don't want to say mistakes, but choices that we made without asking ourselves some serious questions where we can maybe alter things in our life,
Right.
definitely.
So
I
what,
can't
so
say.
what would you tell your kids, if when they're growing up, and do you have girls or boys?
I have two girls, and my son is right in the middle.
Okay.
Poor
So
kid.
poor guy. So,
Yeah.
so what would you tell your girls? I mean, how would you advise them to look differently? Because, it's interesting. I think I'm making things up almost right now. I mean, there almost seems like a split. Women like yourself who are very dedicated to taking care of their children for whatever reason. And then another group that it really is distancing from that insofar as, well, I've got to take care of all these other things and my children come second. And I think there has to be a balance, for all women and kids. Unfortunately too, for many kids today, and there's not enough masculine influence either. And now it's getting very confusing, particularly for men. And so, as a woman, as a mom, what would you tell your kids, and how to approach this and potentially have a career at the same time as they take care of their own kids? I mean, it's a
That's a
tough
great
question, so I don't know if you have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try my best. I mean, if anything, I know, you know, my oldest, she's doing her thing, and my youngest, she's still with me at home. And so she sees how life was for me, and she says, I'm gonna go to college and
Right,
I'm gonna be a doctor or lawyer.
right,
And she saw my struggles, and you saw that with stay home mom, which um, whether she appreciates that or not, now I'm not sure. I think sometimes she looks at me. I don't want to say she doesn't respect me. I think because you know, I don't have a career and stuff, but she's kind of lived and learned and sees like her sister struggling doing her career out in California, and then she's seen me and stuff, and she's like, I don't want to be like that. I want to go to college, a career, make money, and not have to rely on anybody and be stuck in this and that. I'm like, great. if you have to use my story, my life to be your motivation and fuel, then God bless, do it. Then, then that's, you know, a blessing in disguise. So she has head on her shoulders. And so, of course, I tell her, you know, both of my girls, all my kids, actually had an hour and a half talk to my son. I think I was life coaching him today. He
Oh,
was my
great.
client today.
Did he actually listen?
He has his struggles. So, and as a mom, you just want the best for your kids, and you don't
Right.
want them to make the same mistakes and choices that you made in life. And of course, you want better for them. So, of course, I'm like, for my youngest, which, she's in a better place than her two siblings were. They are with me going through the divorce and stuff. The two older ones were older, and she was the baby and stuff. So she missed a lot and stuff. And, she holds a lot. And so she's just at a place where she's like, she's at a better place right now, I guess I'm trying to say, is than where my other two kids were when they're her age, because she's 14 in high school. We were going through a lot of transition when they were in high school and stuff. And, now I have this amazing boyfriend and stuff, and he's a very good and positive influence. And he has two older daughters that are in college. And, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if I mentioned it, he's an attorney, he's a lawyer, practiced 20 plus years, owns his business. So, she's being around this. She's around this versus before. Life in the past was chaotic and a mess and just, not a good environment. So she's in a healthy environment. That's what I'm getting. So she's able to think clear and really to focus on her future and her vision for her life. So I'm good, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy, but definitely the other two, I'm trying to help my son. He's 19 and he's having his struggles. I think a lot of things from the past are coming up with him. So I'm just trying to help him to build his confidence, self-worth, give him that direction and guidance to the next thing in life for him to stay focused and then, have a clear vision for his future. So
tell me, let's change gears here and tell me what you were talking about before. And you're saying, you gotta, love yourself.
yes.
And, everybody talks about that. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And, it's my belief that we all, desire divine happiness. I mean, that's kind of the platform that I work from. And I tell people, well, really all you need to do is really quite simple. And they look at me cross-eyed like, what do you mean it's simple to get divine happiness? Yeah. All you have to do is resolve whatever makes you unhappy. And it's interesting because, my personal belief, and I would like to hear yours, but my personal belief about loving yourself is really get rid of all the negativity in your life and focus on what's great in life. And so rather than, criticizing yourself, and so I came up with this term that I like to share with people is just give yourself permission to be human. Stop beating yourself up because that's holding you back from you loving yourself. So rather than just forcibly loving yourself, like, oh, I gotta love myself. No, just get rid of everything that stops you from loving yourself. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Definitely that's key. As I was saying earlier, that on my journey, I discovered love. And, people are like, oh, love, ooh, who? Love of self. And, being married young and in a relationship for many years and going into a relationship after my marriage, my divorce, I never had time for me because I met my ex-husband when I was 18 years old. So like pretty much from living at home to moving out and being married and having kids and having family and living life, I never really had time to figure out me. What does Stacey want? What's going to make me happy? And, and like you said, I think we are blinded, with social media and the way society has taught us to like, we got to have this and that, the career, the job, the house, the cars, the husband, the wife, the kids, the white picket fence, and all this stuff to be happy. They never teach you and tell you before all that, to have all that, like you really need to love yourself because that's just all material and that could be taken. And what do you do then when you don't have those things in your life anymore? But if you love yourself
But how do you do that? How do you tell people, how do you coach people to love themselves? I mean, what's that process that you like to use?
Well, I think you had nailed it when you said it's you have to find that place become aware. Definitely awareness is key to making any change or transformation in your life. So it's becoming aware of where you are in life and what's making you unhappy. What is that pain? Like you were saying earlier,
Right.
what is that pain? And how are you able to let go of that pain? And yes, love, but before you could really, I think, love yourself, you have to go on this journey. We all have experienced life, good or bad, ups and downs, and just be aware of where you are right now and take a step back. And are there things in you that are holding you back, keeping you stuck? Are there things that need to be healed within you or in relationships? You need to let go and maybe forgive yourself, forgive others. That's key, because if you're holding on to resentments and hatred and judgments, then you truly can't love yourself. So you have to be aware of your environment. Who in your life is making you feel like your self-worth, or not enough, good enough? I mean, chances are most of the time it's ourselves. We need to really take a look at ourselves in the mirror. But it's hard when you're around those people, and then, the way you were brought up or raised or domesticated, and you were taught this and taught that, to be this, dress, look like this, and this is how you have to
Right.
show up for life. But sometimes we put these masks on our face, and we don't really know who we are. So we do get lost in this world. We're trying to like fit in and please this person, that person, and be a mom, be a wife, be a, um, a worker, and like just put on all these different roles. And it's like, at the end of the day, who am I? And sometimes we can get lost and feel lonely and confused. And whether you have a good life, or for me, life wasn't so bad, it was a journey and things happen in life and stuff. And I became aware, in my second relationship where things just weren't good. And becoming aware that I needed to do something. For me, and I think for a lot of people, we think and we stay in these relationships for a long period of time thinking that maybe we can change others if we do this and we, do X, Y, and Z, and stick around and help them. Maybe
I've
we'll
never done
fix.
that, by the way.
No, I
No,
have.
just
That's why I think I stayed 15 years in a marriage. That the last 7 years just kind of was like, I mean, it just plateaued. It just
yeah,
went.
I can count that on several fingers. No, and it's really interesting because we're social beings as much as we sometimes run away from that. And it's funny because we are so eager to be connected that we are too quick to run away as well. And what's interesting too, and what I really respect about you on your media platform is your choice to be vulnerable. And I think that's key. I mean, you are out there, talking about your life, just like you're talking about it right now, really without any reservation. And what's interesting is to think that the message really comes across, how real you are, and how you're willing to see, to fully experience and not deny, the truths about what's going on, and then ultimately do something about it. And that's a lot of vulnerability out there. It takes a lot of courage to express yourself on social media, and have all these people, people are going to judge you. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know, we were talking about this beforehand, where it was kind of funny. And I know somebody just walked in, like, oh my gosh, I'm in the kitchen, and all these people are going to show up, and what's going to happen? But this is life, and this is the whole purpose of my
Yeah.
prescription-free transformation. Is, I don't want to portray the idealized situation, because that doesn't exist. You look at all these amazing gurus, and they're phenomenal people. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Um, but they paint a perfect picture. And so, yes, that's the standard that we like to go for, or that's the direction we want to go for. But I think what happens too often is that when we do, and it happens to me too, and my coach talked to me about this today, is we beat ourselves up too much because we're not like this ideal person in the world, particularly for women. I mean, you look at all these incredible, beautiful magazines like Vogue or whatever, and when you find out, the amount of Photoshop that happens on these photographs to totally change what
Oh, yeah.
somebody looks like, then we realize we can never be that. So that vulnerability that you have is so awesome. And is that something that you also teach or coach your clients with, so that giving them permission to be more vulnerable?
Well, definitely, definitely. That's key. We have to be not afraid to tell our story, our message. Like I like to say, like my mess is my message now, right?
Right.
We all have a story to tell, right? So if definitely we need to share that story, and I tell people all the time to share your story when the time is right, when you feel like there should be no pressure, no stress. I might say things without even realizing it's not planned. I'm just speaking from the truth, so I'm not holding back here. I try to be what's the word?
Authentic.
Yeah, authentic, and also, I don't want too much detail. I'm sharing my life. I don't want to get too personal, I guess, and share exactly detail for detail. But I think the general of like, we all go through this life and stuff, and we have our personal battles, with ourselves and with our environment, with our relationships and things like that in life. But to be vulnerable, I mean, thank you for sharing. I guess I don't even realize it because I just do it so often that I guess it's kind of come the norm for me just to kind of just share my life, my stories. I figure like that's just a way to kind of connect with people. If someone can relate to me and kind of tap into that, and my goal is to share my story so then I could be relatable, and that person's now on the other end of the camera, like watching, like, yeah, I get that. I was there too. I feel your pain. Wow. Look at her. She's sharing her story. Oh my goodness. I want to be like that. I want to be able to not be afraid to show up live on a camera and tell my story and to be vulnerable. And it could be definitely, I know there's a lot of people who are scared to show up and to share that because it's like you said earlier, they're afraid of being judged, right? And that's a fear. That's a fear that we have of being judged, and nobody wants to be judged. Nobody wants to be criticized. But I look at it like if you're here and someone's watching you, that's just their own perception. They're not doing what you're doing. So like props to you. You're showing up, you're speaking your truth. And we just got to learn how to tune out the naysayers, but it could be hard, especially when people are just beginning to do this kind of stuff and sharing the message, whether it's live or a podcast or in front of an audience or whatever, how they want to get to it, or even just be vulnerable with their partner or their boss or their employees, wherever they are in life, with their children, to share. Sometimes we think we have to be this tough, mighty person and put on this persona, like, oh, everything's good and stuff, and kind of hide behind this mask and not be
So
yourself.
what does it take to be vulnerable? I mean, what does it take for you
I don't
to be
know.
vulnerable?
What does it take for me to be vulnerable? I'm just very honest. I feel like I have nothing to hide. Um, I only can imagine that there's been other women who've gone through divorce with kids and maybe they didn't learn the first time and they got into, the second relationship. It wasn't good, and it takes the third time.
But you also made some changes in your life, didn't
Oh,
you?
well, definitely. So yeah, confidence. That's where confidence. Maybe a couple years ago, who knows if I'd be able to do this. I mean, it's easy for me to show up. My family, we're dancers. I'm a hula dancer. So I think as a performer, I think that helps being behind the camera, but still, I mean, at first, when I first started this, I was a little intimidated because I'm used to dancing with music. That doesn't scare me. But when I first started doing these live videos, I was a little bit, nervous, but then I'm like, okay, just, put my trust into the universe, into God, and say, God, speak through me. Let me share my message. Be truthful and authentic, and just be real. And so I think 2 years ago I did my first video, and I look back at it, I'm like, wow, that was really good. Because I remember strategizing before I did my first live video. I was actually at church, and I was like, something just sparked something, like, oh my goodness, a memory. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was the New Year's, so it was New Year's resolution. So I think I wanted to talk to people about like just, how to and be in tune with their mind, body, and spirit, and things like that. And so it's practice, gaining the confidence, and of course doing the things that I do. I'm committed, consistency. I'm showing up, time and time again. And believe me, there's times where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do live. I don't feel inspired. And so that could be tricky too. It's like I think when I have a planned live video,
Right.
I get a little bit more nervous because I'm like, okay, it's planned. I put out there, or told people, and it's like, oh, okay, I gotta show up. But for me, sometimes when I'm inspired, like those are my best videos. I'm like, okay, I'm inspired. Something came up, and I go live just in the blue, just put the camera and go. And I'm
It's
like,
because you haven't thought about it. I mean, you didn't
exactly,
prepare
it's right
yourself.
there. It's right there. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going live. 'Cause you know, we
Yeah, I
train.
know. I actually never prepare for these, and just like today, I mean, it's a freaking mess right beforehand. I tried different technologies and
Yeah.
even signed up on the wrong Facebook page. But I want to ask Sedona something because I always have to put Sedona in the spot.
Okay.
All right, tell now it's your vulnerable place. What's your vulnerability? I mean, do you allow yourself to be vulnerable, or are you so well put together that people think, oh my gosh, she's so amazing? I think you're amazing anyhow, but so tell me about that.
Um, for a long time, I did not, like, I was one of those people that I did not let myself fall apart, did not let myself fall apart in public. Um, and it wears on you. I developed pretty bad health problems and health habits from that. Just because keeping that much stress on yourself all the time is terrible and it wreaks havoc on your body. Um,
Right.
it takes a lot to be vulnerable. I actually just kind of got out of a bad situation that I was in for about 4 years where I wasn't telling anybody what was going on, and I would actively lie if people like asked me how I was feeling or things like that. And I would just advise people that you don't have to do that, and it's not healthy to do that. And you can make yourself have such a better life if you just let it all out, and if you go to those resources, if you go to life coaches, if you go to counseling or your parents or anybody that's in your support system that you really trust.
Brilliant. And it's interesting too because as you were mentioning earlier, Stacy, we learn from our parents, we learn from other people, starting off very, very young, and we're told to behave in a certain way. And just like Sedona was sharing, and because we're told that this is the right way, this is the way that you're going to be loved, and as long as you do this, you're going to be okay, and you're going to get everything you want in life. And nothing's further from the truth. And I think that the most beautiful thing, I mean, let me say it differently. One of the things that most of us do is we compare ourselves with others. I mean, it's just like let's be like the Joneses. And I recently had an interesting epiphany on that one because I still catch myself doing that. I said, "Well, wow, he's got a nice car, nice boat, nice house, or whatever." And but he doesn't have any more brains than I do. In fact, he's got a lot less. So how come? And what's interesting is the epiphany that I came up to is not so much that I'm comparing myself with somebody else, but I see what's possible. So I look at other people and see, okay, that's the kind of standard, that's the kind of lifestyle that I want. And what I'm actually understanding that I'm criticizing is that, well, hang on a second, I don't have that because I haven't lived my fullest potential. I haven't taken care of Bart in the way that he needs to be taken care of. And I'm getting back to what you said earlier on, is that so many women are focused about taking care of others all the time because that's the rule that they've learned, that you've got to take care of everyone else first. But what you started doing, and we were talking the other day, is you started taking care of yourself. You're working out, you're eating better, you're focused on things that generally helped your health. And with that came your self-esteem and your self-confidence. I mean, how do you coach women then to go through that process to really then focus on them and realizing that you're not forsaking anybody else, you're not neglecting your children, and you're really doing a better job by taking care of yourself so you can take care of them.
Well, we start by prioritizing themselves. And at first, it's like, wait a minute, I can't do that. That's being selfish. Women
Right.
might be like, if I do something for me, that's going to be like selfish. My family's going to think I'm selfish and I don't care anymore. But believe it or not, when I help women, we prioritize, and it can be as simple as getting up half an hour to an hour earlier for themselves and making that time for them, whether it's reading a book, meditation, yoga, writing what they're grateful for, just that a little bit of alone time or exercise. And if they can't do it in the morning, in the evening, after they put the kids to bed and having that quiet time for themselves, whether it's a hot bath or reading a book, and just having that time for them and making that time for them. So what we do is we look at their calendar and schedule time for themselves, because if we don't put time in for ourselves in the calendar, it's not going to happen with everything else. Not just women, but most people, we put everything that needs all our appointments in a calendar, right? We have soccer for this child, and cook dinner or grocery shopping, or I got to meet this person, school conference, and sports and activities and whatever not, doctor's appointments. We're putting all these things in our calendar, right? But like in your calendar, where's me time? So I try to help them and show them that it's okay to take care of themselves, because self-care is a priority, and that's going to make them better, and they're going to be a better version of themselves.
Right.
And for their family, they're going to be able to show up 100% versus showing up depleted. So I tell them, think of it. You get tired at the end of the day, you get moody, the kids, everything comes at you, especially in the afternoon, everybody's home, whether the kids are home, maybe if they're little, then all day you have your kids, but if they're older and, everybody gets home, it's like, everything's right at you in your face, is that you need to have the stamina. So you need that time for yourself. So nourishment, self-care, self-love is a must if you want to be able to be there for your family in good times and in bad times, especially in crises, to where, if you have yourself and you're strong and you're fit and healthy and you take care of yourself, when bad things happen, you're going to be ready for that. I think when women or men, when they're lacking that self-care, that nourishment, and when things happen, they're the ones who fall apart and break apart because they don't have that thing to go to. They don't have that person, that coach, that mentor. They don't have this strength within them because they've been always doing everything for everyone else, and now it's like, who's going to help me? I'm depleted. My cup needs to be full, and I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And so when bad things happen, they just spiral out of control. And then life just feels like it pours. So I've experienced that.
I think a great question in that moment is, what is it that I'm doing, and what is the reason I'm doing this? And and like you said earlier on, the quality of life is the quality of questions, and I know where that came from Tony Robbins. And it's true. You have to start asking yourself, my clients, what I tell them is, look, if there's a disturbance within you, if there's a misalignment, if there's some dissonance within you, start asking the questions. What's going on here? What is it that I really want? Really, not just what is it I really want, but what is it that I want really? Mm-hmm. Not the obligations and the morals and the rules that everybody else placed upon me, but rather, what is my spirit? What is my heart? Where do I want to go with all this? Mm-hmm. And I think that's important because, that's taking responsibility for yourself. So, there's so many aspects and dimensions to this, and I don't want to get too convoluted, but I do want to say this, is that when you take responsibility for yourself and take care of you, like you were saying, because nobody else is going to, it also means that you're probably not running away from what's also important for yourself. Oftentimes we run away thinking, well, let me forget that. Let me just take care of all my kids and everyone else, and so then I'm going to be okay. Well, the truth is very different. I mean, people are still kind of selfish. But the other part, the flip side, is also very key, and that when we enable our children, when we take care of everything for them or for others, we're kind of enabling them not to take responsibility for themselves.
Exactly.
And then they get in this vicious circle again. And so this brilliant question that I learned from my coach, I have to name him, Chad Cooper from Legendary Lifestyles, phenomenal guy, a Marine, a pastor, he's been a mayor, he's had so many roles. And what I learned from him the other day is that this is the question: is this my work to do? Is this my job? And so that's a brilliant question that people can then ask, because, if you're making, your child's lunch and they're 16 years old, maybe it's their role, maybe it's their job,
Yeah.
giving you then the time to take care of you. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, definitely. I talk about delegating. Don't think that you have to have this to-do list and like, okay, I got to do this, clean and do laundry and dishes and cook and do everything. Look at your to-do list, and I tell them to delegate some chores to others in the household to help
Right.
have them help you. So you can have maybe that extra 5 or 10 or 15-minute break for yourself. And so you're not doing everything. So definitely, I agree. If you have children, even little ones can start, helping you with the laundry and dishes. I mean, kids want to be useful. They want to help, but if you
Yep.
do everything for them, like you said, you're enabling them, and then they become lazy. And then, because I was there too. I'm like, oh, but just eat. It's just faster and easier if I just fold the laundry or do the dishes, right? Because you just be right. But what are we teaching our children? And so, like, we need to learn to slow down and like delegate. Show them they're not going to maybe fold the clothes the way you fold them. You got to let go of those things and surrender and be like, what? They're helping out their learn. You're teaching them. And so definitely, I believe in delegating your to-do list, chores, so you can have that time.
It's also about language, I think. And I remember, I had a very blessed life, and I was lucky. I actually grew up in England for part of my life, and we had a nice yard. It was quite big with a vegetable garden and a lot of mowing space. And I was the youngest child and didn't have any friends, and that's a whole different story. There, it's just I didn't connect with a different culture. I was brought from Mexico and into a whole new culture, and I was a teenager, and teenagers are pissed off anyhow. So, but what was interesting is that one major chore that I despised and hated is I had to mow the lawn and get on in the dirt and do the vegetables, and I hated that. And the reason I hated that is because my father didn't make it fun. And I think that's a big challenge today, is that there's so much pressure to, like you said, to get it done in a certain time frame, and it has to be done in a certain way. So it's never fun. I was a scratch golf player when I was a kid living up in Mexico, and I went to the birthplace of golf, which was in England in essence, and I never played. And I didn't play because it wasn't fun playing with my dad. He was just too intense and too serious. And I think that the mistake that we make is we get too serious with life and we don't get to play. And our kids see that too. And so then we're going to take care of everything for them. And so they don't learn how to take care of themselves and enjoy life at the same time.
Oh, definitely. We need to stop and smell the roses. And so our kids they learn from what they see and what they do and don't do, right? So, definitely play. I like, and like you said, fun, like fun's my middle name. I'm all about having fun, so like you said, you can make things fun. Some chores just have to be done, I mean, well,
Right.
actually I could say cleaning. I make cleaning fun. I put the music on and I dance around the house while I'm cleaning. And you can do that with the kids when they're younger. You put the music on, every, the kitchen after dinner, sing and dance, do the dishes
Right.
and clean up and tidy up. So you can make things fun, so it's not like, oh, okay, you got to do a chore. I know I did months ago, I did a live talking about what we get to do versus what we have to do. So I think if we look at it like, what do we get to do instead of have? And so it doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. And like, oh, you're pulling your hair out. But like, if you look at it in that way, like I get to do this, it's more like you're looking at life, you're thankful and blessed and giving gratitude. Like, well, okay, instead of complaining, I have to do this. Why don't I look at it? I get to do this. Maybe somebody else doesn't get to do this. And I can, okay, well, I have to clean today, but I'm blessed to have a house to clean, right?
Yep.
Or I got to drive to work in traffic. Well, I have a job, and I have a car. So we have to think, make things more interesting and alive and look at life as
Right.
as fun and being living life as a blessing, that to have the things in life, to do the things that we have to do in life, whether we like them or not, to make it fun, or to at least be thankful for, because what we have, maybe others don't have. And I always taught my kids that, there's always going to be friends or people in life that have more than you or less than you. So you just have to appreciate where you are in life and make the best of it. So fun.
I think a lot has to do with language, and you just shared a key word, what I get to do, or what I have to do, and it's funny because
Make it different,
our brains are wired in a certain way. I have to do this, so it's almost associated with things that you just simply don't like to do. Yeah, you have to do this. You have to clean your room. You have to do this, whatever. And I also recently learned this from my coach, Jack Cooper. And when you think about it, paying rent or paying your mortgage, I have to pay my mortgage. Well, you get to pay your mortgage. Look at all the benefits that you get to have.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's with everything else. And it's interesting how much we take for granted. And you talk to many of the successful people in the world, and you ask them, what's their secret? What's their secret for success?
Mm-hmm.
And most of them, if not all of them, will say gratitude.
I was just going to say that. You read my mind, because that's exactly, gratitude. We have to. That's where it starts. We have to give thanks for what we have, our blessings. Like, I'm always like, woohoo, good morning. It is a new day. We're here, we're alive, we're breathing. Like, I think I say that in every live video. Everyone's sick and tired of it. But hey, that's like my thing. Like, no matter what's going on in life, you are here, you're alive, you're breathing. There's always something to be thankful for, and definitely gratitude. You can't expect more in life if you're not thankful for what you already have. You got to let go of the old, and to allow the new and what you want, and make room for the good things in life that you want. But you have to be thankful for what you have right now.
I think I need to start my show by asking Sedona every time, Sedona, what are you grateful for?
There you go.
Oh gosh.
Spot.
Full list. Recently, I've really had an appreciation for where I live. It used to kind of feel like a little bit of a crutch to live downtown, but really there are so many amazing things that I would not get the opportunity to do, or they wouldn't fit in my schedule or my time frame if I didn't live in a metropolitan area. And one like Phoenix, where it's not crazy all the time, just on rare special occasions. So that makes
it right now
doubly fun. Yeah, like right now, we actually have our Red for Ed movement, our teacher strike downtown, and it was very hard to get to work today, but we're also just so thankful that there's so many people that are out supporting that cause right now, and I'm thankful that it gave me a job. It gave me something to report on and something to care about for the day. And that's just kind of the fun of living in the downtown Phoenix and Tempe area, is there's something new every single day. You never know what you're going to find.
Exciting.
Yep.
That's awesome that you shared. And you said a key word there is appreciate. And I recently went to a Tony Robbins event, and every time I get to go, I learn something new. And even if I've heard it 100 times, the 99th time I wasn't ready to hear what he's saying. And I think that's the key thing in our lives, and that's what's so great about you, Stacey, is that you get to help people have new perspectives, new insights, new knowledge of things that may seem so obvious, but the way that you present them or repeat them is important. And the word appreciation stuck out with what Sedona said, and putting it in context of expectation versus appreciation. And we expect so much. We have all these rules about ourselves or around us. I mean, you get in a car and it has to be a certain way, or you go to a restaurant, it has to be a certain way, and customer service has to be a certain way. And when you begin to appreciate just what you get in that very moment, delivers a completely different experience. And I think that's important, and I'm sure that's what you share with your clients as well, Stacey.
Oh, definitely. We need to be in the moment, be present in the moment. Because like you said, we've got so much going on, and we're thinking the next thing, or whatever we're doing, we're already thinking the next thing, or planning our day. And sometimes we need to just let go. Like literally, we need to let go, surrender, and just be present where we are right now. Be appreciative, be thankful, and just enjoy life right now and not stress. So I definitely believe like in meditation and breathing exercises, definitely that helps people who their minds are just scattered everywhere and can't focus, and they're just always thinking the next thing and what I got to do next, and oh my goodness, and life is just running or passing them by and stuff, and we need to stop. We definitely need to stop and slow down and become aware and let go in order to move forward in our life.
You know, there's a new competition out there, a new standard, very exciting, and I'm totally addicted to it. And anybody out there who's familiar with the Muse headband or brain sensing headband will totally agree. You know, that's putting in a competition in meditation, which is kind of funny. What this actually is a headband that you put on, and it teaches you how to meditate, and by giving you that feedback as to what's going on with your brains. And what's interesting is that you get kind of scored with it, and when you're really in a calm kind of state, then you hear all this beautiful sounds, and you hear all these birds chirping. And so the number of birds that you get really shows how well you've been meditating. I'm sharing that because if people out there saying, well, I can't meditate, I can't relax, this is a brilliant tool, and it becomes a lot of fun, you know, for us to begin to really appreciate what's life all about, being in the moment, and really having a much healthier perspective. So I know our time is almost up, Stacey. I want to give you the last 30 seconds as to what you'd like to share with other people. What's one of your key messages, and how do people get to find you?
Oh, well, thank you. First, before I do your 30 seconds, they can find me at Stacey Rose, Life Coach on Facebook, or my handle is Stacey Blue Rose. Also on Instagram, Stacey Blue Rose. And they can find me there, or they can visit my website at livehealthfit.com. That's livehealthfit.com. And they can reach out to me. They can leave a message. I have, they can leave a little message, record a message, or message me, email me, and we can connect. Okay, so how do we leave this? I think everything we talked about was great. Definitely, the key is love. We need to have that self-awareness of love where we are in life. You know, if we're asking ourselves what's next, or we feel stuck in life, or confused, and we want more in life, then we need to take a deep breath, let go, and just release it all and ask yourself, what do I want? Ask that question, what is it that I want and desire? What is that goal for me that I want? What is it that I'm not doing right now that's not making me happy? What will make me happy? What will bring happiness and joy and abundance in my life in all areas? Love, health, wealth, and happiness.
I love it. So I want to thank you for that, and for all those listening in. Just reach out to Stacey Rose, particularly women. She's got that woman's perspective. She's walked the walk already, and she's talking it, and she can help you make that transformation.
Thank you.
So once again, I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, Real People, Real Conversation, Real Success. Thank you, Sedona. I know it was a chore to get in today, but
thank you.
Thank you so much. Till next time.